Hi, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again today. We have a 503 engine here. I'm about to set the ignition timing on it. And I went, well, let's do a video because one of my subscribers says, I would love to see a video on how you actually set the timing on this dual capacitor discharge ignition. Same procedure on a 582, by the way. The spec is a little bit different, but it all works the same way. So stick around. I'll show you how I do it. So as we always need special tools, we need specifications. So I've just copied this on the sheet here, specifications. So we're going to adjust the timing so that the spark plug fires, of course, before top dead center, but how much? 0.069 inches. So 69 thou before top dead center. And this is at a 30-degree angle. So how does this play into it? Okay. So the piston is going straight up and down this way. But when we have dual plugs, the spark plugs go in on an angle. So there's your 30-degree angle. So the compensation for this angle is built into that 69 thousandths of a specification. Here's what we're going to measure it with. We're going to check and get our specification before top dead center. This is a long stroke dial indicator, and it has an adapter to make it fit into the spark plug threads. Because we need to get right in and have the tip of this touch the very top of the piston for an accurate measurement. This is just a visual aid. I'll show you how I use that. And because we're working with magnets here, of course, the magneto, well, we need a brass feeler strip or we're not going to get very far. It's just going to be stuck to everything. So this is 0.020 inches. So 20 thousandths of an inch thickness on this. I use a silver marker to make a couple of marks, makes it visually easier to see. And the last thing is I wear a headlight when I do this because even though it's well lit in here, it just helps to see inside here that much better. And a pair of pliers is always good to have. I just want to snug this in so that it can't rock around. So let's carry on and let's set the timing on this. We'll do the mag and cylinder first. So first thing we need to do is let's insert our dial indicator into the mag cylinder. And I'm just going to give it a bit of a snug because I don't want it to be able to move around at all. It does make a difference. Okay, now we're secured there, so let's go down here. So this is the magnetic pickup or trigger for the ignition system for the mag cylinder. So this is the one we're going to work with first. So here's what I used the marker for. And there's a little slot that we're going to use, and it's right there. So you can see there's a little slot there, a little line. I'm going to make that a whole lot easier to see. I put some silver in it and give it a quick rub off with my finger, and now much easier to see that. So that's always cool. Now let's see where we're at now. So here we'll go back up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the crankshaft, and we're going to find top dead center and zero our indicator. So I'm rotating in the normal direction of travel. Okay, the piston now, of course, you see it moving, is touching. The piston is coming up. And when it stops and goes back down, well, that's what the gauge does. That's what the piston is doing too. So I just roll it back and forth a bit, and let's just get this right to zero. Oh, it's pretty much right on from the last time I used it. Okay. Okay. Now, what do we want to do now is we need this to be 69 thousandths before top dead center. So now let's rotate the engine backwards, and each revolution is 50. Okay, so there's 50, 55, 60, 65, 66, 68, 69. So because I use this all the time, you see I put the little green tape on there, and this one is for with the 3 for a 503, and that's for a 582. So now let's go down to here, and now let's have a look. Now let me get my little headlight on here. All right, and get this sparked up. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is what I use this tool for. Is I want to use this to visually extend that line across, and actually, and this line right here is the timing mark on the flywheel, on the magneto flywheel. So that's what we want. So wow, look at that. I just screwed this back on, made sure it was out far enough it wasn't going to rub, and so my installation was pretty much averaged out. So timing wise, all right, I'd be pretty happy with that. Now what we need to do now is, and I can't get this to focus anymore. Let me get a different light, maybe we can see. It's pretty tough to see in there too. Maybe if I backlight it. Yeah, nope. This is going to be pretty tough to show this. Anyway, there is about right where my pointer is, there's a little protrusion from this trigger that comes out, and we can see this one right here on the magneto flywheel. So this actually is what triggers it as it goes by. It's a make-break magnetic field. So I need to get those two lined up. Okay, so it's lined up there. And now I need to check the gap in here and see. And wow, well, I got to say, I just put these back on by eye from normally where I put them, and that is actually a perfect gap in there. So I didn't pre-do this, it just ended up this way. Okay, so I'm happy with that gap there. So that's fantastic. And so let's just go back and recheck the timing and make sure that what can happen is, and I'll show you in a second here. Let me go past. So here's top dead center. So we're going to go backwards, right? And there's 50, 55, 60, 65, all the way to 69 right there. So we'll go down again. So what can happen, and why I say use this for, sometimes this will end up kind of crooked like that or like that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I think I can live with that. That's pretty darn good. Okay, so I'm just gonna tighten these a bit by hand right now and make sure it doesn't move. And I'm just using this by hand. I don't want to. It needs to be torqued, but I'll do it after. Okay, so we're happy with that one. So that worked out really good. So let's go and swap out the dial indicator now for the PTO cylinder. And maybe the other side will be out so that I have to do an adjustment on it, and I can show you actually the adjustment part of it. Okay, so we'll just give it a little snug. There we go. And we'll rotate the engine again in the direction. There we go, which is from here is clockwise. Okay, so you notice it was going up, and then it's going down. So let's re-zero that. And we'll just try it back and forth a couple of times. I really try to get these things absolutely bang on. When they're perfect, you can actually hear the difference in the way the engine runs. It's really quite amazing. Okay, so here we go. I'm going backwards now. There's 50, 55, 60, 65, all the way to 69. Okay, here we go, down again. And now we're working on this side. And let me get the visual aid part of this here. Put the little silver in there because it really does help a lot. I think it does anyway. Okay, so that, okay, so this one here is covering, when I parallel that line in there, it's covering my timing mark here, and it's actually, I can exaggerate it, but it's on a bit of a tilt this way. So now I'm going to check the clearance in it, and depending upon whether it's tight or loose is going to depend on which way. So I've turned it back, and I know you can't really see it. And wow, that was almost right on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to take it and move it so that it's exaggerated like this. I want to move it this way. So I'm just going to leave my feeler strip in there, and I'm going to undo this one, undo that. Then I'm just using the little teeny screwdriver here. I'm just going to move it out. Do you see it move there? Move it out a bit at the top. So it's tight now. You see, I'm captured the strip in here, and it's really tight to move in and out. And so I'm making it tighter by the top one. Then I might have made that too tight. And then I'll just move it over a tick at the bottom. And how I usually do that is I'm just using a little tappy tap here. So I'm barely touching it. And that's a little bit loose. So let's see what happens when I tighten this up again. It's difficult to show this. I didn't realize it was going to be, but well, that's pretty nice. Okay, so let's go back to where we were before. I'm not going to move the camera again. I'll just turn this. Okay, so this where the mark is here now. This is actually top dead center. So when I rock it back and forth, right there, I'm at the 0 on the meter, on the dial indicator. So I'm going to go back, and I'm watching the meter carefully. There's 50, 55, 60, 65, and 69 right there. So now let's see what we got. Well, look at that. See that? See how I turned it from exaggerated, of course, from that to that. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. So now let's go back and check our gap again. Okay, I can live with that. And I'm on the other side, and I'm going to check it on both sides. And then I'm going to turn it halfway, and I want to check it again, because if the crank is nice and straight, it should be, identical. So just let me move this back a bit. No, I think I'm full focus here too. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm happy with that. The feeler strip in there, the 20 thousandths is perfect. So now let's turn it on 180 degrees and check it again. It feels identical on both sides. So perfect. So I was happy with this one, and I also am with that one. We'll turn it back right there. So there you go. So there we've got our line is perfectly lined up there. Now there's another thing that you can do with this, but there's no way it's going to show. The end of, the end of the bar right here, hopefully we can, let me see if we can show it better. Okay. All right, here's the trigger bar right here. Oh yeah, there's a little more light there. Okay, right there. So what I can do is I can get this trigger bar halfway on the other bar that's there, and it should match exactly on the other side, which is, for me, is like a double check. And I can see it. Well, I can see it, but I'm sure you can't see it, but it's like bang on. So fantastic. Now, okay, so next thing I'm going to do is, and they were all snugged up and everything like that. So next thing to do is torque both of these to spec, and then when I'm finished, I put a little mark on there, and then I'm done. That's my mark that I've finished, and it's the way I want it. So I was happy with the adjustment. So we're going 55 inch pounds on here is the appropriate torque for these, and then we have that there. There we go. And you may think I'm finished, but I'm not, because I want to make sure that this is perfect. Nothing moved at all when I tighten it up. So what I'm going to do is the same thing again. Is I'm going to, now I have the indicator, of course, is still in the PTO cylinder, which is this pickup right here, this trigger. So I'm going to, I'm not moving the camera again, but you've already seen it. I'm rotating the engine in the direct. See, it's there. We're in the right neighborhood here. And remember, when I'm down around here, it should be top. Okay, so top dead center. So let's go back. I'm just going to count it off. We're going to 69 thousandths before top dead center. All right, and I'm going to check that again. I'm very happy with that. I'm going to move it over to where the two little bars that unfortunately you can't see go together, and check. That's perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to remove the indicator from the PTO cylinder, go back in the mag cylinder, and all right, come on, there we go. And we'll check that again and verify that it's perfect, that it's exactly where I want it. Okay, so now we're going to be working on this side. Whoops. This is the mag side trigger. And I have to move the indicator just a bit to re-zero it. So I'm re-zeroing it, yes. And then I'm going backwards, 50, 55, 60, 65, 69. Okay, then we're going to check this again. It's right on the money. Super. And now I want to move it a bit. I want to bring the trigger bar and the pickup gap together, and oh yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so now that that's all done, okay, we're going to zoom this out. Now that's all done, it gets a check mark. Done. So there we go. Timing is adjusted correctly. The air gap on the trigger is perfect. It's synchronized from one side to the other. It's good. I couldn't ask for more. Well, that's how I set the timing on these engines. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from it. It's going to help somebody somewhere. That'd be awesome. The more time that you take to do this carefully and get a perfect adjustment, as perfect as you can make it, the engine's going to sound better, it's going to run better. Because remember now, this is a two-cylinder engine, and yes, they're hooked together in the middle of the two cylinders, but it's really two one-cylinder engines that we're trying to make run in perfect harmony. So that's why I really spend a lot of extra time to do this, so that I'm absolutely satisfied. The gaps are perfect. The timing is perfect. Everything is as best as I can possibly make it. So anyway, that's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, all those other things. See you again. Bye now.